It was a display of sprinting like we've never seen before in the 93-year history of the women's 100 meters at the Summer Olympics. Talou from the Ivory Coast was fastest, but it can be argued that the Jamaican pair of Thompson Herrera and Fraser Price were visually more impressive. The semifinals and final to come, and the world can hardly wait. Good evening, good afternoon, even wherever you are. This is Tokyo Prime, the evening edition, and my name is George Davis. Sharing the platform with me is Aileen Bailey, Pauline Davis-Thompson, and in the IMC commentary booth, Lance Whitaker lurks before he gets on to his evening duties, and we're set to be joined by that man from Trinidad and Tobago, Anil Roberts, in short order. Before we get into the meat of things, let's give you a schedule of the Caribbean athletes set to be in action later on this day. So we have Geneve Russell, the Jamaican, goes in the 400 hurdles along with her teammate Leah Nugent, and Barbados is Tia Adana Bell. Rhonda White runs in the 400 hurdles as well from Jamaica. Sparkle McKnight and TNT, same event. In the discus, Jamaica's Shade Lawrence. And then from the Bahamas, we have the 100 meters hurdles, Devine Charlton and Unique Thompson from Jamaica, and Pedro Seymour from the Bahamas also there as well. We're not done. We have more. Brittany Anderson, 100 meters hurdles from Jamaica. Megan Tapper, another Jamaican in that event. Sean Gill from Belize goes in the same event, the preliminary round though. And Emmanuel Archibald from Guyana, she runs in the 400 hurdles heat 4. So what a day in prospect after the day before when the women absolutely sizzled in the Tokyo heat inside the Tokyo Olympic Stadium. Ladies, we saw a treat. I was joking this morning talking to Maurice Wignall and Leighton Levy that Pauline's jaw is still on the ground, so he should be careful how he walks. He doesn't want to step on it. And that Aileen was also aghast with what she saw. And you two both have experience competing at the highest level. We have to revisit what we saw yesterday, Pauline. It was tremendous. And I know you had time to sleep on it. Have you yet come to grasp with what you witnessed yesterday? Women jogging 1082 and looking around while running 1078.
No, George, I still haven't come to terms with it. I am still in complete awe to see my fellow Caribbean sisters, just tearing up the track in Japan. And they're doing it with such grace and they're so fast. And I'm beyond excited and happy to see that the Caribbean girls, in the Caribbean, girls is a good connotation for us. In America, they say that's not a good connotation. The Caribbean girls are doing their thing, and I'm so excited for us.
Aileen, based on what you saw yesterday, have you reconciled what you saw yesterday is the question.
I've gotten time to process it, but I'm still in awe, though, because I've never seen the women's side of track this competitive where you're literally jogging 10.8s, and that's just amazing. And then Talou with the 10.7 and glancing to her left to check to see how close everybody is and cruising in. So I'm super excited to see what the semis hold. Just waiting to see how everything works out and if everybody has the same energy and vibe that they had yesterday.
Right. So you answered you're starting to answer the question I was going to ask you next. Your expectations. Should we expect them to go as fast in the semis as they went in the opening round heats?
Based on how their semis are stacked, depends on how stacked your semi is, you might have to run. And I feel that I think Sharika's semis is kind of stuck, so yes, she definitely have to put some effort in. And Great Britain, Dina Asher-Smith, her semis.
Well, why don't we show you the start list for the semifinals? Do we have the start list for the semifinals so the ladies can talk about their expectations based on the particular heats? All right, what I'll do then, I'll go to my computer and I'll tell you. You spoke about Sharika Jackson's heat. All right, let me tell you. In semifinal 1, Bingham from Canada, Gator from Bahamas, Thompson Herrera is running in lane 4, Okabari, Del Ponte, Asher-Smith, Prandini, and Pinto. Will Thompson Herrera have to run as fast as 1082 to get out of this?
Not really, because all Elaine has to do is just get out of the blocks, and because once she gets up, no one is going to stay close to her. But I feel like the other ladies might push her a little bit, but then Elaine knows how to stay control and and don't get distracted. So definitely she's going to be pushed a little bit, but not to the point where she has to like go full blast.
Your expectations today, Pauline, should we expect to see the jaw-dropping times we saw in the first round yesterday?
I do expect to see that. I expect to see them coming very close to that world record, if not break the world record. That's what I'm expecting, because when you have that many athletes competing at that high level, where they're just jogging, like Eileen just said, and 10-8s. I mean, they literally, it's like a jog in the park. And they're doing 10-8. So when it really comes down to the final, where they're running for Olympic medals, gold, silver, and bronze, it's going to be on. And I will not be shocked if they run a spectacular time, George.
Yep. Lance Whitaker is at the IMC commentary booth. Lance, you've been around for a bit covering these Olympic Games. Have you ever seen anything like you saw in the first round of the 100 meters heats yesterday?
Not quite, George. It was fabulous. And Talou threw down the gauntlet and ran really, really fast. For me, a little bit too fast, but the Jamaicans looked very, very comfortable. And I'm very excited to see what will happen in the semi-finals coming up.
Yeah, you spoke about Talou going too fast, but I mean, if you're going to run like that, you want to get that out of the way in the opening round, yeah, and then you focus on just qualifying from the semifinals into the finals. Fact of the matter is, Lance, we are on track. We're seeing some women competing, and the technology is there to assist them. Pauline says she expects them to go very close, if not break the world record. Should we even dream about that, Lance?
I'm not hearing you, George. Not hearing you.
You're not hearing me. All right, we're going to come back to you. Lance Whitaker is having trouble hearing us. Anil Roberts is with us. Anil, are you hearing me?
Hearing you. It's a little broken, but you know, we have a connection, so I can figure out what you're trying to say. But I'm hearing you a little bit.
All right, so what I'm saying to you is this. 1078, 1082, 1084, and some 11 zeros. Real easy from the women. What are you expecting today in the semifinals and the final to come?
Well, one thing I've learned about track and field, every race is different. All conditions are different. Some athletes run easier. If I analyze each one of the top ladies, I will say Sharika Jackson jogged. She ran the slowest, the most comfortable. She never mashed gas. All the other ladies look incredible. Elaine Thompson looks to be impeccable. The Mummy Rocket, fantastic. I'm even feeling a 1-2-3 Jamaica sweep, but we'll have to see in this semi-final. Talou looked great, but I can tell you, she ran her heart out. How will her body recover? What did that 1078 do? Did it tear muscle fibers? What's going to happen in the semifinals? Our girl, Shelly-Ann, she ran 94-95%, 11.06. I can see her probably going 10.99, but can she get down to 10.70? I'm not seeing it. Sharika Jackson was jogging alongside her. The girls, the ladies look impeccable. The talent, the quality, the ability to come out of the phases. They are looking better than the men technically, more intelligent, more pristine. Asha Smith looks good, and she's a 200 runner, and you know me, I like fitness. So you can look for Asha Smith to be coming on in the last 10 meters.
You know, Anil, so far the word is that there is no discernible measure of the advantage given to sprinters by virtue of the new shoes that are available to track and field athletes. There have been measures put to the benefit to distance runners and middle distance runners. With the shoes what they are and the form of the ladies what they are, could the world record finally, if not fall, come under serious threat?
Yes, you have to identify your talent, but you have to do the basics across the board. So even if you are an out-and-out sprinter, you still have to have an aerobic component, because if you are going to do my workouts to increase your speed, your power, your efficiency, in order to recover And for me to give you more work, you've got to be able to respond. The technology, the tracks, the shoes, the grips, the curves are all designed to assist. If you go back to the days of Jesse Owens, you're running on a cinder track. Could you imagine Usain Bolt trying to generate power and speed on a cinder track? He may have spun his wheel and dug a hole down to look for oil. So the equipment is there. The track is there. This Tokyo track seems to be one of the fastest in the world. It's shocking. Look at Talu's pace. She didn't know she ran so fast. So it's going to be exciting. Jamaica looks good. The Caribbean is well represented. The technology is there, and we've got to see, we've got to get popcorn and get excited.
The question, Pauline, is this. Anil just mentioned Dina Asher-Smith in an interview she gave after her run, and the article, the slant of the article was that her run wasn't that impressive compared to the big three from the heats. And she said, well, don't worry, I have another level to go to. Do you agree with her?
I agree with her. She's a 200-meter runner. George, because she's a 200-meter runner, all she did last night was run 100 meters. So she still have a lot left in her tank. And I'm sure that she's fully aware that this is the big dance. It don't get no bigger than this, George. This is the Olympics. This is where you pull out all the stops and run at your optimum. And so I do expect that Asha is going to do that tonight once she gets into that final.
Not drawn into a speed trap, she was A-lead, so she didn't need to break 10 seconds to get out of the heat. She got through comfortably. So she says, I can engage other gears. Do you think she can?
I mean, she's capable. She's definitely capable of doing that. And like the rounds are all there. Qualifying is like top 3. So. And it's 100 meters, so any lane is good. It's not like the 200 meter where you want to make sure you're in the middle. But it's 100 meter, you're going down the straight, so any lane is good. So the aim is to just get to the finals. So initially it was top 3. Top 3, that's all she ran to get, top 3. And then tonight it's top 2, and that's what semis is going to be top 2. And then that's what she's going to run to. She's going to generate enough energy to be in the top 2 to get to the finals. And once in the finals, it's just all hell break loose.
There's a lot of confidence among the women, a lot of speed as well, and a lot of excitement the world over as we await to see these women in the semifinals and then the final of the 100 meters. Will it deliver all that it is promising to do? Break time. Back with more on Tokyo Prime, the evening edition. Back with us on Tokyo Prime, the evening edition. We're talking about the women's 100 meters, and we are taking the race. The race is semi-final by semi-final. There are 3 of them. Top 2 get in automatically to the final, and then you're going to have the 2 fastest losers from the rest of, from the 3 races also making it. And so we did look at semi-final 1, the lane assignments and the lineup, and we're going to take them in turn, and then we're going to hear from Elaine. Well, we're going to hear as we go down the line from a Bahamian who's also managed to grab a semi-final place. So semi-final 1, lane 2, Bingham from Canada, lane 3, Gator from Bahamas, lane 4, Tom Sahara, Okabari in 5, Del Ponte in 6, Asher Smith in 7, Prandini in 8, and Pinto will run out of lane 9. Not 9 athletes, but they're just starting from lane 2 across. So that's how you get the 9th lane having an occupant. And if I may start with, I hear that Lance Whitaker is back with us. Lance, are you there? Are you hearing me?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Good, you're hearing me now. All right, good. So Lance, the first semi-final has Tom Sahara in it as the outstanding talent based on the fact that she's the defending champion and she's been very good in part this season. Prandini here, Asher Smith, Del Ponte, Okabari and the company. And of course the Bahamian who will run out of lane 3. Who do you think are the automatic spot qualifiers from this race?
Pandini was closing pretty strongly in her heat last night, so I think she will run well again. Do you have the lane assignments?
Yes, sir. On the inside lane is Bingham from Canada. Beside her is Gaither in lane 3. Tom Sahara is in 4. Okabari is beside her in 5. Del Ponte in 6. Asher Smith on the outside in 7. Prandini in 8. And widest of all is Pinto from Germany.
I definitely think Elaine Thompson-Hera is there. Okagbari, to me, has a very, very good shot as well. The way I see it, I would have those as the top 2 because it's the top 2 that will be safe going in. The others will have to depend on time.
Yep. Anil, this first semifinal with the Thompson-Hera in the middle of the track. Are you sharing Lance's perspective that Blessing Okabari and Thompson-Hera look to be safest?
But it's going to be interesting. The only one who's sure from what I've seen to qualify and control her run will be Thompson-Hera. But Thompson-Hera had a good start this morning, and she's going, if she gets another start like that, Okabara is going to be pulled along for the first 50 or 60 meters. So Okabara, I expect to be in second place with about 40 meters to go. But there's a secondary race in this first semi-final. Out on the outside, you have two 200-meter runners in Asher Smith and Prandini. I expect them to pick up speed and be finishing gangbusters. So I believe that Hera will be clear. She'll be able to control it, slow down and run or jog the last 15 meters. Okabara will be well positioned, but Prandini may be pulled along with Asher Smith. I go with Hera, Asher Smith, Prandini. The 3 qualifiers.
In that order. All right, let's go to semifinal 2, and I'm turning to the women on the set now. Well, just before we go to semifinal 2, let's hear from the Bahamian who's in semifinal 1, what she thought about her run in the first round.
Tanya Gay there from the Bahamas. Congratulations, you're through to the semifinals. 11:34. How was the run?
The run felt great. Nice and relaxed. Didn't want to do too much, but wanted to make sure I got that top 3 spot.
I saw you watching back the race on the screen. Anything you saw that maybe you didn't feel?
Yeah, the start and my transition could be a lot better. That's what I'll focus on going into the next round.
Well, Tanya, you were out in the round 1 in Rio, so already an improvement.
Yes, ma'am.
Congratulations.
We'll build from there. Thank you.
Before I jump to semifinal 2, Pauline, your countrywoman has gotten in. What do you make of her prospects of emerging from the semifinal?
George, she's going to have to run the race of her life tonight. Her personal best time is 11.02, which she ran a few years ago. If she wants to be in that final, she's going to have to blaze the track tonight in order to get in a final. That's a lot of firepower in that heat. But I always believe that anything is possible. So I would not count her out. But she's going to have to run a very, very fast time tonight.
Do you share her opinion that her transition could have been better in that opening round heat?
I completely agree with you, yes. Her transition was not good. She looked a little shaky. She didn't look as if she was very comfortable. And normally in the middle she's a little bit better, but it just didn't look that good last night, but that doesn't mean anything. Today's a whole nother day. I'm sure she went home. She got some good rest. She realized that the Bahamian people are going to be watching, and they're going to be expecting for her to really do a good performance tonight. So I'm still looking forward to her doing a great performance tonight, George.
All right, let's go to semifinal 2 then, and I'm starting with Aileen because Crystal Emmanuel, the Canadian, is on the inside-most lane. Beside her is Guy from China, then Michelle Lee Ai from Trinidad and Tobago. Talou will run in the middle of the track. Sharika Jackson is right beside Talou. Burghardt from Germany is there. Asher Phillip and Oliver on the outside for the United States. So this semifinal 2 has Ai, Talou, and Jackson right beside each other. Lanes 4, 5, and 6 in that order. Ai, Talou, and Jackson. This semifinal 2, Aileen, who are the 2 automatic qualifiers based on your assessment?
So I'm definitely going to go with Sharika because, we're texting.
Yes.
And I know how confident she is, and I know the type of athlete she is, and she's going to make sure that she's in that top 2 position, and Talou as well. It's just that this semis, everybody is craving to get to the final, so this might be a little harder because Ai's in the same semifinals and Oliver from the US.
Yes.
So it's gonna be like probably they probably will get more push in the semifinals.
So perhaps you're saying that the semifinal will be the fastest of the three.
Possible, yeah.
Yeah. But Pauline, what do you say about this one?
I completely agree with what Aline is saying. It's definitely going to be. It's going to be a tough race. No question about it. And I do expect, as she mentioned Sharika Jackson.
Yeah.
Again, Sharika Jackson is a 400-meter runner, right? That's where she comes from. So this is another jog in the park for her.
Oh, you think wow, a jog in the park for her here with Talu beside her.
Yes, because she's a miler.
Yeah.
And she has 10.77 speed.
Yes.
So she could do what she needs to do and make sure she gets to the final without exerting too much energy. She's a quarter miler by trade.
Yeah.
So the fact that she's a quarter mile is only 100 meters.
Yeah.
In the 400, she has 400 meters.
Yeah.
This is only 100 meters.
Yeah.
She's going to get to the finishing line without even breathing. That's how quick it's going to be.
Yeah.
So I expect her to do some great things.
All right. Lance, I'm coming to you. Semifinal 2. Aileen says, based on the talent here, she expects this to be the fastest one because the women here are going to have to run hard to secure that automatic place. What say you?
Well, I think she might be right because based on Talu's mindset and how she's applying herself to these races, I think she's going to go pretty fast. And there is less room for error in the semifinals, obviously, this evening or tomorrow morning Caribbean time than there would have been for the heats. And if she had gone so fast in the heats, I think she'll be burning Sharika Jackson and Talu for me for that semifinal.
Lance, what do you make of Michelle Lee Ahi's revival at the right time, I would say?
Yeah, she lost a lot of time based on the suspension that she was on, but she's a very determined athlete, a very strong athlete, an athlete that has been very steady at the highest level. I don't think she has enough background work behind her to really challenge the two that I just mentioned, but I expect her to put in a good show and be just off qualifying.
Anil, the usual suspects from this race, Talu, Jackson, perhaps Ahi as an outside shot. What say you? I'm not hearing you, Anil.
My heart says that Sharika Jackson, then Michelle Lee Ahi being pulled in second place. My brain says that Michelle Lee Ahi, I would have preferred her to be in Oliver's lane, outside of that pressure of the Talu brilliant start. She has a problem when others jump out on her. She changes her stride rate. She stands up straight too quickly and rushes her drive pace. And once that happens, she doesn't get up to top speed. Then the mental issues come in the last 30 meters. It's not easy to run when someone is 4 meters clear of you right next to you. So unfortunately, the lane assignment next to Talu is going to be bad for Michelle Lee Ahi. So I see Talu getting out, Sharika Jackson pulling up in the middle of the track, jogging past Talu and deciding whether she wants to finish first or second. That's Sharika Jackson. Talu second. Oliver coming on the outside to qualify third.
Stay with me, Anil, because the third and final semifinal has Fraser Price in the middle of the field. Daniels from the USA is right beside her. Kambunji, Ahuri, and Enwakocha on the outside for Nigeria. Some say this is the easiest of the 3 semifinal heats, Anil.
Definitely. And Fraser Price looks the class of the field. I'm telling you, I don't know what the Jamaican team has done. The coaches pretended that they couldn't get to train and there were some problems. Their uniform looks brilliant. They look calm. They look collected. Their technique looks flawless. Each one of the different women has a different style slightly. But Fraser Price comes out. She runs that first 7 paces with a chin down, a head down, and even though she's short, when she picks up that head, her knees lift and her hip flexibility is tremendous. She is going to walk into the final, and following her, I believe, will be Kambuji, who is very mentally tough. She may not be as gifted as the 4 fastest, but I think she's a racehorse and she will follow the Mummy Rocket into the final, and Ahuri will represent Africa well.
Yeah, Lance, I think the best question to ask about semifinal 3 is who will accompany Fraser Price out of this semifinal?
You know what? I like Daryl Nita and how she ran the last 20 meters of her race last night, so I think she shouldn't be underestimated. Daniels from the USA is probably, based on quality and what she has shown to the world already, maybe the safest bet. But I thought Nita ran really well on Friday night, and I would give her an outside shot of making the runner-up spot behind Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price.
Yeah, to be fair, Daryl Nita, ladies, she ran a personal best. She was dragged along in she ran sub-11 in the first round, the British athlete. Does she have the wheels to get through this semi-final 3, Aileen, with Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price, or are you looking elsewhere?
I mean, I think she does because she's young, and I think she's been wanting to be in the Olympics individual for so long. So she has like a different drive and edge. It's your first Olympic. You're more hungry than anybody else. And I mean, she's in the race. She probably idolized Shelly, and she's in the race with Shelly. So she's going to want to impress her idol. So definitely she will do something impressive.
Pauline Bass, Bongiorini, Nita, Fraser-Price, Daniels, Kambunji Ahuri, Enwa Kocha, who and Shelly emerged from semi-final 2?
I think maybe the British girl.
Yeah, Nita.
Nita.
Yeah.
Maybe Nita. Nita will, I think, as Aileen mentioned, Shelly-Ann is probably the person that she looks up to, who she wants to be like, and so once she sees Shelly-Ann going, she's probably going to go behind her and try to secure that second spot. So that's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure,
yeah.
But when you're young like that,
yeah,
I mean, you just like running around, and everything is just so great and wonderful, and you see your idol, you just running around, you want to be just like that person, and you're in the race with her, you're going to try to go behind because you want to impress her. You want to say, look at me, you're my idol, but I'm right here with you, and you're going to help to pull me along, and I think that's what's going to happen.
All right, thank you very much for your forecast. Before we go to the break, though, Alex Jordan caught up with a Trinidadian who's done so much for her country, given them so much pride over time. Didn't quite have it in the opening round heat, but Shelly-Ann Baptiste said this when she spoke with Alex Jordan after her race.
It wasn't what I was expecting, but given the year that I've had, it doesn't really necessarily surprise me. I probably won't make it to the next round, but I'm happy with the way I competed. It's my final Olympic Games, and so I just have to focus on the relays.
You know, it has been a strange year, you know, preparation, etc.
Yeah.
How was your day today? How did you feel before the race?
I didn't feel bad. Actually, my last race, I think it was at the Jamaica Trials. It was my season's best time around 11:19. So I was hoping to build on that. Training has been going well, but it just wasn't meant to be today, and I have to be okay with that.
Well, we look forward to seeing you in the relay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Anil Shelly-Ann Baptiste, short of work because of the strange preparation time going into Tokyo. No surprise that she wasn't at her sharpest.
Yes, she was there in their 5 Olympics. Wasn't well prepared. She did what she did. She's a confident runner. She's been around for a long time. But really at this stage, the young firebrands, the competitors who are confident and ripping, not in that class right now. So congratulations to her. I hope that they part of the region they can get into the final.
Hear you on that, my friend. All right, we are at the end of this segment of Tokyo Prime, the evening edition, but much more track and field to talk about after these. Back with us on Tokyo Prime, the evening edition. So we saw some Caribbean men in the 400 meters hurlers opening round on Thursday, and they all looked good. The 3 Jamaicans advancing to the next round, and of course, Mr. Kyron McMaster from the BVI also impressed in his opening round. He comfortably through to the next round. We also caught a glimpse of the world record holder Karsten Warholm, and of course the man with the strong Antiguan links, Rai Benjamin from the United States, also doing the business, setting up a mouth-watering prospect. When those two clash, especially, and also when McMaster joins the party, it should really be something awesome. But Anil, if I may start with you, Karen McMaster has had some setbacks in recent years and lost his coach under very tragic circumstances, but he has rebuilt his program, has refocused, and he's edging towards his very, very best form once again. How did he look in that opening round heat? All right, Anil, I'm not hearing Anil Roberts at all. All right, let's come to the ladies on the set. We're going to have to talk about Kyron McMaster. Aileen, he went out, well, it was an easy thing for him. There wasn't much competition in the heat, to be fair, and he did what an athlete of his class would have been expected to do.
Yeah, he did, and his coach, Mr. Lennox Rhyme, is there with him as well. And you know, Lennox is predominant Jamaican hurdles coach, so he's in good hands. So yes, he just took control of the race, and running out of lane 2 and being able to like make up ground, that was good. And he did very well throughout the race and just took control of it, and he did good. Yep,
Pauline, always technically sound, Kyron McMaster, in the blue on the inside, and hardly broke a sweat. I would, well, if it weren't so hot, he wouldn't have sweated in the race inside the Tokyo Olympic Stadium on Thursday.
McMaster is a young phenom in 400-meter hurdles, and he's been showing some great form in these Olympic Games. In this heat, he looked fabulous, and technique looks almost flawless. So I'm expecting some great things, George. He looks amazing.
Yeah. All right, he spoke with Alex Jordan after his race. Kyron McMaster did.
Very controlled. I didn't went out as hard as I wanted to, but that's a conversation for me and the coaches. But apparently, it's a really good race. Coming home, they exert as much energy. Felt in control. That's where I wanted to be.
You looked really in control. I thought that you might have even slowed up towards the end.
Oh yeah, most definitely. You know, the aim wasn't to run fast. The aim was just to advance within the top 4.
Karen, you won the heat, and we'll see you in the semifinals. Congrats.
Thank you very much.
All right, so that's Kyron McMaster from the BVI, safely through to the next round of the 400 meters hurdles. The task ahead of him is huge, though, because there are 2 men in front of him who have set the world on fire this year, especially Karsten Warholm, the world record holder. Absolutely stunning performance, and he looked as if he was on a training run in his opening round heat. Well, let's talk about Jaheel Hyde, the Jamaican, who, Aileen, we were saying last night, perhaps needs to tighten up the technique a little bit, but there was enough there for you to be convinced that he still has much more to offer at these games in the 400 hurdles.
I mean, he definitely does. I mean, I remember watching him in high school here, and known that he was like the prospect for us to have like a great 400-meter hurdle, and he just had a little hiccup, but now he's back with a confidence that I love. It's just that sometimes with 400 hurdles, they tend to always want to go with the dominant leg. So he was stuttering a little bit yesterday because he refused to use the leg that's not his dominant leg. But I feel like he was just making sure he made the semifinals, and he's going to do very well in the semis to get to the finals.
Right, so Jaheel Hyde there in lane 4. And yeah, as we said, in terms of which leg to lead with, he shifted it and shuffled it around a couple of times. And technically, Pauline, there is work to do. But when you can win your opening heat at the Olympics with a lot of technical scope for improvement, that suggests that you're more than a good athlete.
It sure does, George. He's a phenom, and his technique is a little shaky. He's not as technically sound that he needs to be, but I think as he continues to progress, it's going to get better, and then we're going to see some really mind-blowing times coming out of him. Yep. I expect that, just looking at him and looking at some of the mistakes that he's making right now, but I do expect that maybe even by the final, you never know. Sometime by the final, these athletes fix their technique. The coaches are watching on the big screen in the warm area, and sometimes they just need to tweak one little thing and bye, ready to go.
I'd be surprised if he doesn't make the final, Aileen, with what he has in his locker.
I mean, he's a dad now, so he has like a different drive. So, and I mean, you know, when you have your kid watching you want to make sure that you do your best. And he's going to do really well. And like I said, he's had a rough couple of years, and he's back now, and he's back to stay. And I mean, he's Jamaican, so, you know, once we get to where we are supposed to be, we're not going to give up. And he's going to be in the finals, and it's a hurdle race. You never know. He might pull something off. It's a hurdle race. You never know.
All right. Jaheel Hyde also spoke with Alex Jordan.
It was a pretty good run. I haven't run on since the trials, so to come out here and get a blowout was a good run. I'm pretty pleased.
You must be. It's been such a strange year. How's your preparation been?
It's been good. You know, I've been on the season of my life, so just to give God thanks to stay injury-free and take it through the rounds.
All right. Any last words to the people back in the region?
Just hi everybody. You know, I'll be going out there to do my best. Thank you.
See you then.
Pauline, here we have an athlete who, as a youngster, was very good at football and also very good at track and field for his school, Woolmer's. And his father, one of the greatest of footballers, midfielders for Jamaica, back in the 70s and late 60s as well. And so he had a choice to make. He picked track and field and left football behind. And he had the burden of being a prodigious youngster with the scrutiny on him of translating that promise into solid achievement as a professional. There have been some struggles, not least because of injury, but it must be heartwarming to see it all looking as if it's coming together now for a young man who was always destined to be something special.
First of all, it seems as if track and field is his passion. Once it is your passion, it's so easy for you to go out and do what you need to do. And exactly what Mr. Hyde is showing right now, that this is his passion, this is what he wants to do. And one of the things I've learned, George, when you have athletic ability, you're pretty good at a lot of things. It comes down to your love. What is it that you love doing? And if you speak to any athlete, they will tell you that they like other sports. But at the end of the day, there's only one sport that you have the heart and soul and the passion for. You'll go through lightning. You'll be in the cold and rain, training to what you have to do when you have the passion for it. So most athletes tend to be very good at other sports, but passion is what matters the most.
Yeah. From what he did in his world youth, at the world youth level, Aileen, one would suggest that where Karsten Voorholm is where Jaheel Hyde's trajectory suggested he should have been, but it's not quite gone to plan. Obviously you know him very well. It must be pleasing for you to see him come back to a level where he can punch with the best in the world and not feel like he's an inferior.
Oh no, I'm like really happy because, like I said, I watched him since high school, and I'm just happy that he's doing so well. And you know, he's going to do well because his fellow Wolmerian is in the women's 100, and she's gonna, you know, dominate, and it's gonna give him that extra drive. You know what, Shelly did it, definitely Wolmerian, and we have this luck, and he's going to do very well because like I said, his drive is different. I mean, when you're an athlete and people keep telling you you're not good enough and you will never become what you were projected to be, it gives you a different drive, and you want to prove to yourself that you can be what you were supposed to be, and he's going to do that for us.
Yeah.
Absolutely so. Well, if Rai Benjamin manages to land the gold medal, Antigua and Barbuda will have a lot of celebrating to do, given the strong links between the American and the Twin Island Federation, given, of course, his father, Winston Benjamin, is an Antiguan of distinction. The Caribbean island will have cause to celebrate. Hyde and McMaster are minor medal hopefuls at best, because Warholm and Benjamin look to have the two most precious medals in the 400 hurdles locked. But of course, we race because anything can happen. Back with more on Tokyo Prime, the evening edition, after these.
One.
Well, this little woman, Natoya Gould from Jamaica, she was impressive in that 800-meter heat. And what about Sharika Ricketts in the women's triple jump? And then Fiella Fond from Dominica setting a national record. 14.60 is where she landed, uncorked something rather nice. So good to see her making this progress. So happy for Dominica. They're getting their moment in the sun at these games. But the 800 meters first, Natoya Gould, her performance in her opening heat, winning and looking to have something to spare Anil Roberts, and everything suggests that she has a major role to play in how these medals will be shared in this women's 800 meters event.
Well, George, I must say, as a coach, I was so impressed. Everything seemed to come together for Natoya Gould last night. She looked calm, she looked collected. Her running style is effortless. She looks like a tiny little Wantarena. She ran that 800 without even taking her heart rate up above 160. She didn't go through any acidosis, any lactic acid buildup. She went so comfortably. She took it out in under a minute, 59.83. She finished in 159.83, but she went out in 59.90. So she came back in another 59. So it was an even split. If you look at this style of running, it's like she was born to run. She's gliding. She's comfortable. Her back is upright and her lung, she can get a full breath in. She got out in front and stayed out of trouble because a few of these people got involved in pushing and shoving in some of the heat. But she was in control. She looks brilliant. And out of every single runner from every single nation, this Jamaican lady looks to be the favorite. She's well within herself. She looks like she can go down to 157 if pushed. If she continues to maintain her mental composure, stay relaxed, it's a beautiful thing to watch Natoya Gould run.
Very comfortable every yard of this 800 meters event, Pauline. Natoya Gould was yesterday.
Yeah, she looked amazing. She took her time, and she looked like she got too much stress doing it. I mean, she made it look so effortless. That's what's so awesome about the way she ran yesterday. So I'm expecting that she's still going to have a lot left in her tank in order to make the run for a medal.
Yeah.
She's definitely going to be one of the persons that are going to be running for a medal. So it was good that she had such an easy heat yesterday, and she was fantastic.
Aileen, while we were watching the race, you kept telling her, not that she could hear you, to get out of the pocket, yeah, not be boxed in. And your words ring true, because guess what? There was a British athlete in the same 800 meters heat, McClory, who stopped in the race because she said she got spiked around 6 times. She kept being spiked by the athletes, and she said that after about the 4th one, she said, all right, she was safe. But she says with about 200 meters to go, she got spiked again, and she just had to stop because she felt her legs go. Beyond that, though, Natoya Gould, keeping herself out of that kind of trouble, is in serious shape for a serious push at a very, very prestigious medal.
Yeah, because the reason why I was like, because I've been traumatized since she got bumped at the World Championship, because
Yes.
she was in medal position and she got elbowed back and she had to like chop her step. So I trauma from that time. So I was like, get out of the box, get out of the box, because these 800-meter runners are aggressive. They're tiny, but they're aggressive, and it's by any means necessary to get to the finals or to win a medal. And if you're in their way, they're gonna run on you or spikes you or anything like that. So that's why I was like getting out of the box. But she looks calm and relaxed, and she might have aired me subconsciously, sending waves to her over there. So, but she looked amazing, and she looked relaxed and calm. And I guess those 400s that she's been running is helping with her speed as well. So that's good.
Yep, Natoya Gould, really, really good. She looked in that opening round 800 meters heat. Well, what about the triple jump? There were 2 Caribbean women who really caught the eye with their performances on the track on Thursday. Sharika Ricketts, the Jamaican, qualifying with just one jump. Just one jump was all that was needed for her to advance to the next round. And of course, Fiella Fond from Dominica, flying through the air and landing at 14.60 meters. A Dominican national record. Anil Roberts, talk to me about the Dominican first. That 14.60, the best ever by any woman from Dominica, special by Thea LaFond.
Definitely. And being a former footballer who had surgery on both of my knees, I tend to cringe when I watch the triple jump. It's beautiful, but it looks painful. It's effortless, it's brilliant, the coordination, but the hop, skip, and leap. To see Ricketts do it in one jump and move on, I was thanking our lucky stars, because the less time that you could spend hopping, skipping, and jumping and leaping into a pit, every time they do it, I worry about ankles, hamstring, hip, back, knees, but the Caribbean is well represented. But this is one of the most competitive fields across the board. Every one of the athletes in this final, depending on how they hit their run-up, how they feel on that day, it's a wide open event, so everyone has a chance. I can't pick any one out of these finalists. All have a chance to bring home glory.
Yeah, there was LaFond walking away from that 14.60. Aileen, she looked really well with that national record, but Ricketts also superb with her one effort to just hit the qualifying mark and go home and chill out.
I know, I love it, and I love it too. She looks amazing, and I've watched her progress, and she's been progressing really well, and like she has that gold medal in sight, and she wants it, and she's going out there to do her best. And we have Kimberly's also our other jumper that made it through to the finals too. So, you know, we have two Jamaicans representing. So we're good. And they're both from Vertex, so, you know, highly invested.
Pauline, what is true is that this event, Anil said, is very competitive. Perhaps competitive for silver and bronze, because Rojas, the favorite from Venezuela, is on another level. She's the only 15-meter jumper in the competition now, the only 15-meter jumper for a long time, and it will take something really special to even get near her, one suspects.
You're right about that, George. One of the things I've learned about a major competition like the Olympic Games is that once you make that final, you too stand an opportunity to stand on top of that podium to win the gold medal. Any one of those finalists stand the opportunity to become the Olympic gold medalist. That's what we all athletes know, right, Aileen? That once you win the dance, anything is possible. So you'll have to go back into that event again in that final. You have to produce that 15-footer. But sometimes that doesn't happen. We don't know what the outcome is going to be. But once you win that final, anything is possible.
All right. Kimberly Williams, who also got through, Aileen mentions the other Jamaican getting through to the next round of the women's triple jump. She also spoke with Alex Jordan.
Man, I'm actually happy that I made the finals. It took 3 jumps, but today it's all about advancing to Sunday. And I not lie, I was stressed. I was so stressed because I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? I was jumping 13 meters and that's not normal for me. So, you know, I had to get in my head a little bit and pull something out. Sometimes it's just prelims, you know, you got jitters and stuff and you want to do well. So you end up thinking too much and you don't execute. Yeah. Yeah. See you Sunday. That's all right?
Isn't that true, Aileen Bailey? Sometimes you end up thinking so much about your event that you become your own worst enemy.
Yeah, definitely. I've done that a couple of times, psych my own self out. But you just have to trust the process and trust your coach. And the craziest thing, you know, your body knows what to do. You just have to just let it do what it's supposed to do. Just follow whatever techniques and just play what your coach tells you and follow those procedures and you'll be fine.
Pauline, this is something that I've always wondered about where elite athletes are concerned. You do something every day, you train, you go through the routine, you know what to do, you know how to do it. But then your mind starts playing with you and you wonder why. Why does your mind play with you when your body, as Aileen said, knows what to do? And I'm applying that to Kimberly Williams here because she's saying that she was jumping 30 meters, something that she doesn't normally do. And she's at the Olympics, the place where she has trained to be, and her mind is interfering with her performance.
Yes, some athletes do go through that, George, where their mind will interfere with their performances, but I wasn't one of those athletes. I would rehearse what I had to do weeks and sometimes months in advance. And I would lock it away like a computer. I would literally lock it away. And so that's why when I get to the starting line, and they probably could tell this, I would be speaking to everybody, hi, how you doing? All this about da, da, da. And they're looking at me like, excuse me, we about to race. Why are you talking to me? And the reason for that is because I don't lock everything into my little computer, so that when I stand there and the starter says on your marks, and I start to pull up everything. So I was a little bit different from other athletes when it comes to that aspect.
Yeah, all right. So we are here looking at the Thea Fond from Dominica. As we said again, national record in the triple jump, the women's triple jump, 14.60 meters. Sharika Ricketts, 14.43 also through, and Kimberly Williams finally getting there on her third attempt after 2 jumps that she would quickly forget and consign to the bin of history. That said, Rojas, highly impressive, technically perfect, and at 15 meters plus, that's what she has in her locker, you know. The other women are really hoping that she folds up and that they can capitalize. But if it goes according to form, Rojas will be standing at the highest point of that medal podium. We take a break here on Tokyo Prime, the evening edition, and continue with our discussion on track and field after these. Welcome back to Tokyo Prime, the evening edition. The women's 100 meters hurdles will also be contested, the first round, later on this Friday, which is, of course, Saturday in Japan. The program really running, well, the program catching fire is what I want to say, because it really is catching fire with the start of the track and field competition. Yes, big respect to the action that came before, but for those, again, who say that the Olympics have only started since track and field really began, it is true, especially given the haul of medals the Caribbean has won in track and field over the past several Olympics. We haven't won anything anywhere else. This is where we announce our presence. This is where our moment of glory comes, and we are grateful to have the chance to compete in track and field. All right, so the women's 100 meters hurdles, I have here heat 3, round one, heat one, yes. And I have, there are a couple of Jamaicans involved and a couple of other Caribbean islanders as well. The 100 meters hurdles, let me talk about it from this perspective. A highly technical event, we know, just like the 400 meters hurdles you run and you jump, highly technical, you have to get it right. I'm amazed though at how some athletes seem to do worse in the hurdles the more experience they get. When I say do worse, this is what I mean. Hit hurdles. So you're a novice athlete just getting to grips with the technicalities, and you go through competitions and you are fine. You reach the highest level, you may have won a major medal, and then all of a sudden you start developing bad habits that weren't a part of your makeup before. And I always ask myself why. I would have thought that the bad habits would have come as a youngster, and as you got more experienced, these bad habits would be weeded out and you'd now solidify your level of performance. But we can apply that to the men's 110 meters hurdles, because the Olympic champion isn't here because of a mishap at the Jamaican trials, and there were other things he said. But again, there have been technical flaws in his race that have undermined his own progress, and there have been technical flaws in the makeup of women sprint hurdlers that have undermined their progress. And I'm asking the two professionals, the two ex-professionals on the set with me, why is it that the technical events, the more experienced you get, the more likely you are to develop some bad habit? Pauline, I'm going to go to you first.
That's a very good question, George. As someone who has been coached, I was coach at the University of Tennessee. I coached it for 2 years, and I coach hurdlers. As a matter of fact, my walk-on hurdle was the one that caused me become a coach of the year at the University of NCAA coach of the year at the University of Tennessee. And you're so right about that. They just become a little bit complacent. And once they get to a certain stage, they figure, I'm good at it. I don't have to really think that much about it. I don't have to do that much about it. I'm just going to go over them. I'm just going to run through them. And sometimes they don't always work as diligent as they did when they first started. Once they become really, really good, they just kind of let it slide. And when you're coaching these hurdlers, you have to keep explaining to them, listen, this is a technical event, and you've got to be very careful because you could injure yourself going over these hurdles. And so that's what I find with the hurdlers that I coach when I was coaching at Tennessee, and the hurdlers that I coach as an elite coach, because I used to coach several elite hurdlers, and it was always just so tough trying to get them to understand how you slacking up. This is just not good.
Yeah.
Stop becoming complacent. Let's get this right. Let's be technically sound, because it doesn't matter. You still have to be technically sound, George, over those hurdles.
Yeah. Aileen, bad habits developing when you're a seasoned athlete at the wrong time of your career, I'm suggesting?
I think it's just sometimes they're overconfident. Like, I'm the best, so I really can just go with the flow and do whatever. And a lot of times, even when their coach is like, okay, here's the thing, you're not doing what we're supposed to do. And because they feel that, oh, I'm a Olympian or a world record holder, I can do, I'm good, I know what I'm doing, I feel fine. But you can't tell how you look. Somebody watching from the outside has to see you and be like, okay, this is where, if you do this is where, and coaches literally have videotapes of all their athletes. Like, they do comparison, like, dude, this is how this person look, this is how you look, this is how you look this time. But a lot of athletes are just so confident and overconfident and sometimes a little bit arrogant that they just neglect the fact that this person got you to where you need to be before, so you need to pay attention and listen. But it's just that they just get complacent.
Yeah. All right. What about Megan Tapper, the Jamaican who is lining up in the 100 hurdles? Anil, she is diminutive, a small thing, but she's big on heart and big on talent. Talk to me about the technical challenges at the highest level that an athlete of the physique, the makeup of Megan Tapper, would have to navigate in her run for success.
Well, yes, and the technical events are not as deep, so you have the problem about staritis. What is staritis? When I can conquer a technical event, I can win and I can confidently go from step to step without challenges. But when the event is on, for example, that everyone can do, everyone can run, and it's a 100, there's always someone waiting to take your crown. Now, in this 100-meter hurdles, there is such speed, precision, and technical ability that it's very difficult. Most of us lay people don't understand how high those hurdles really are. The flexibility that is necessary. You have to be almost like a ballerina at top speed, as well as being able to land, continue to maintain your momentum forward. If you go too early on the hurdles, most of these hurdlers could actually do it when they're expert. They can close their eyes, run their steps, and do the hurdles without looking when they're at their best. However, one stumble, one mistake, one effort, one step too wide on the drive phase before you stand up, and it could cause you to clatter into, touch the first one, then it's hard to adjust. If you touch the first one, it's rare that you can readjust and get back into your stride to keep your 100, 110-meter hurdles flawless. It's a dangerous event. It's amazing. It's great to watch, but it's one that, while you could be confident, once you're the top 3, top 4, top 5 in the world, anyone can win on the night because danger is just around the hurdle.
Yeah, that's true. All right, you know what? Is Alex Jordan ready for us in Japan? Is she ready for us in Tokyo is the question, Mr. Producer? Because now would be a good time to make that link with Alex Jordan over there. Alex, are you hearing me over there at the Tokyo Olympic Stadium?
Hi, morning, George. I have to say good evening to the Caribbean. Good morning from Tokyo. Now, I know it doesn't look like it, but it is a slightly cooler morning here in Tokyo, and great anticipation for the women's 100-meter final this evening. In fact, I think increased security around the stadium. Our taxi couldn't get us to the right entrance, and I had to run a 10,000-meter to get here. But we are excited and raring to go.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about that, Alex, because I was wondering why it is that our team got delayed. What information did you glean?
Yeah, well, this is it. You know, well, first of all, the Japanese are the most rigid, organized, disciplined population I've ever come across. This is a people who have lanes on the floor to get in and out of the bathroom, and I kid you not. So rules are a really serious thing here. So, you know, our taxi driver, I don't speak good Japanese, but he assured me he had to sweet talk policemen on the road to get us to the venue. So clearly heightened anticipation about people trying to get into the venue tonight to see this 100-meter final.
Yeah, look, the buzz. We used this word last evening, Alex, when we spoke. The buzz around this women's 100-meter semi-final, the semi-finals, the three of them, and the final. The buzz is it's palpable. You can probably hold it in your hand. It's a product, Alex. It's an item. Tell me about it.
It's palpable. Even the great Usain Bolt said this will eclipse the men's race. Everyone is talking about this race. And no surprise, George. I mean, if we think about it, 6 women ran sub-11 in those heats. 22 personal bests. 10 national records fell. You know, it was an assault on the senses and the record books. Everybody's looking good. What can I tell you? Marie-Josée Talou said she was shocked at her time, and she ran it easy. You know, people are saying that this is one of the fastest tracks in history, this Mondo track. I don't know if it's the track. I don't know if it's the spike technology. But this year promises to be a battle royale.
But before I forget, and before we return to the 100 meters, Alex, for women, I want to, of course, ask you about the conditions again. It's very important, the conditions in the stadium for what we expect to come.
Well, it's hot. Listen, Tokyo is a hot place, you know, and everyone keeps giving us jokes that we're from the Caribbean. What are we complaining about? It's a different heat in Tokyo, you know. It's a big city. There's lots of concrete. This particular stadium, there's not a ton of wind that gets in here. In fact, they have air-conditioned fans all around the stadium in an attempt to keep everyone cool. But it's boiling hot. You can see that I'm sweating. I'm always sweating here. So that will factor in. But it looks like clear skies. We'll have to see. Everyone loves the track. Everyone's excited about the track. In fact, I believe Shelly said that she reckons she can go 10-5 in the final.
Wow, that would be something. That would be something. That would be new territory. Yeah, of course, she'd still be the second fastest woman all time behind Flo Jo. But Alex, now that we've gone back to the women's 100 meters, tell me though, the buzz or the talk among fellow professionals. You're there as a media professional. I'm sure you would have spoken to other people, whether when you went for breakfast, you went for lunch, or you just went for a walk to chill after a hard day's work. What are people talking about where this women's 100 meters final is concerned?
Well, they're just really excited, George. They reckon that, you know, it's anyone's to take. It's going to be very close. There are lots of names. Could it be 1, 2, 3 Jamaica? Or could Ashadina Smith out of the UK bring something big for Great Britain Team GB? It just feels like history is going to be made. And that 33-year-old record from Flo Jo, I don't know, boy, it might be under threat. No one's willing to call it, I'll say that. And I'm speaking to some guys really in the know.
Yeah.
And that should tell you everything you need to know about the race.
Yeah, look, Alex, we've come a long way in professional sport. There was a time when a woman having a baby and coming back to her event, first of all, she would have been dissuaded by several people, even some of those closest to her who meant her well. But we have some prime examples of women doing that and coming back and looking as though almost as if they've never left, coming back even better than ever. I want you to consider that as you talk to me about the impact of what Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce has done up to this point, the scale of that impact.
You know, it's extraordinary. I heard Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce say to another network that it's about time this much focus was placed on the women's 100 meter. I guess they've always been eclipsed, especially in the last few Olympics, by the great Usain Bolt. I heard Anil Roberts make a good point earlier in the week about what a woman's body goes through for childbirth, including an increase in fat, etc. It is extraordinary to imagine that Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce is still so competitive, world-beating, world-leading, the expected winner here today. Not just from the physical aspects of what a pregnancy does, I think, to a body, but also the emotional things. You know, many mothers in sport tell me that the difficulty with coming back after childbirth is that sometimes you don't care as much, right? Life is put into perspective and all of a sudden other things take precedence. So for Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce to maintain that kind of focus, that kind of mastery, but she's a boss.
Absolutely so. Nothing more to say on that. Stay where you are, Alex Jordan. We're taking a break and coming right back. This is Tokyo Prime, the evening edition. The 100-meter semifinals for women rather, will be contested soon. And then the final will be contested. The world cannot wait. I hope I don't lose my voice before it all goes down. We take a break. We come back with more. Back with us on Tokyo Prime, the evening edition. Johan Blake sending up a prayer. He and several other men will be looking to eclipse that man who crosses the finish line in front. Scenes of the Rio 2016 100 meters final where Gatlin felt the pressure of Bolt and his technique went out the window. The big man sweeping through, beating his chest in triumph, winning yet another gold medal in a major championship. So the men have been relatively low-key compared to the women, and they are being treated in many quarters like chopped liver, and not many people eat chopped liver. Chopped liver is not something that you can go to a restaurant and get. It's not fashionable. So the consensus may be that the men in the 100 meters at these Olympic Games are rather unfashionable. Alex Jordan, I am minded to let you go to get ready for your very important business later on. Any final thoughts as you and the world anticipate what the women will do on the track today in the short sprint?
Wow, what can I tell you? Two final thoughts. There is markedly more photographers in their area right now. The big lenses getting ready for some big engines, if I'm to paraphrase the great Lance Whitaker. And as I look up on the screen as they're counting down to our 9 a.m. start here in Tokyo, Usain Bolt and Jamaica on that TV. What a legacy that lives on here in Tokyo 2020.
Yeah, I was about to ask you that, and I'm squeezing one in before you go, because I read something today that said that when the track and field program started inside the stadium, they showed a montage of Bolt's victories at the Olympics, and I'm saying, wow, the big man is still casting a huge shadow over proceedings, Alex.
George, I hope that other athletes around our region really study the reasons why. It is not merely because Usain Bolt won races with such authority. It is because we fell in love with his 360-degree personality, right? He loved the media loved him, and we miss him. In fact, I was driving just last night with Andre Lowe from the Jamaica Gleaner. He, of course, is here covering the action for them. And our taxi went past a shop in downtown Tokyo selling Team GB gear. And we both opined, you know, if there was a Jamaica store, it would have sold out. Such is the brand and the legacy of Usain Bolt still in Tokyo.
Absolutely so. Thank you very much, Alex. Great job. We look forward to those interviews that you'll get with the athletes later on. All the best. Good. Alex Jordan there kissing, blowing kisses to her legion of fans around the world as she works for us in Tokyo, Japan. We're winding down. We're in the dying embers of the show. Anil Roberts, if you're still with me, I'll ask you about the men's 100 meters. Never in your lifetime, Anil, has the 100 meters for men been as low-key as it is now. It's like a distance runner who has low blood sugar level, Anil. It really is feeble. It is emaciated. Are we to expect what everybody says we are to expect, which is nothing much from the men on the track? No fireworks, because the women have taken all of the kindling material.
In all my years of following sport and track and field, I've never seen something take place like this. It's just like everybody got decimated at the same time. In Trinidad and Tobago, our greats have retired and we've not been replaced. Jamaica, the great man has stepped away and the young ones have not come through. Maybe this might be their full stepping stone. In the USA, it's Trayvon Bromell and no one else. He's clear. And across in Great Britain, they've had the 3 same sprinters. No one is interested in the men as compared to the women. The women are 5, 6, 7 deep. We are even talking about potentially approaching one of the hardest world records ever. When you talk about Japan, as Alex was saying, They just love their sport. In 2001 World Championship in Fukuoka, George Bovell came from nowhere, from the Caribbean, and was ranked #1 going into the semifinals. At that time, Trinidad and Tobago was TRI, not TTO. And when we are swimming down, Japanese cameras came from all over, about 30, 40 cameras, and they were like saying, what is TRI, TRI? And I'm trying to tell them, Trinidad and Tobago, Caribbean, steel pan, soca, close to Venezuela. They didn't know. Then I said, Atto Bolden. And they went, Atto Bolden, son, Atto Bolden. So understand that Japan knows their track and field. They know their sport. They know their heroes. And the big man will loom large over that stadium. But the women will take the show.
Pauline Davis-Thompson, the women's time has come to the extent that the men in the 100 meters, nobody is talking about the men.
I know, George, isn't that amazing? But yes, it's the ladies' time. It's about time that we get some love, some extra love. And our ladies out there, our Caribbean girls, they're doing their thing and they're making us all proud. And I'm just excited to see that the world is now focused on the women. All these years, we were just a little blimp, you know? So it's our time now. It's our time to shine and to show the men, this is the way the ladies do it. This is the way we do it. And there's no doubt in my mind that the girls are very excited.
Absolutely.
They know what is happening. They realize that they carry the torch for all of us. Aileen and I, we are so excited. So we can't wait for them to do their thing.
The 400 hurdles about to start. Aileen Bailey, I'll get your thoughts later. The fact is the first doping story from Tokyo 2020 has just broken. We understand Blessing Okabari, the outstanding Nigerian sprinter, has returned an adverse analytical finding and has been scratched from the semifinals of the women's 100 meters as a result. Yes, you heard it here. Blessing Okabari, confirmation coming that she has tested positive for a banned substance and has been scratched from the start list for the women's semifinals. Much more on that later when the continuity segment of Tokyo Prime is on your television and your mobile devices.